Hello and welcome to Corley English Micro Lessons. Today we will be covering the phrasal verb go off. I'm your instructor, George Corley.
大家好，欢迎来到柯里英语微课程。今天我们来学习一下超高频短语动词 go off 的用法。我是你们的主讲老师丽丽老师。All right, on and off. 这可是一对经典的反义词呀。由它们构成的短语动词 go on, go off 也应该互为反义咯。
Well, just from looking at them, I can see how you could assume they're antonyms. But in their most common meanings, they don't really have that much to do with each other.
Oh, I see. 那么 go on 的常用意思有哪些呢？上节微课我们有学到哦。咱们来一起复习一下吧。
Yep, these should be the most common meanings of go on. We also explained the structures and context where it appears and provided some examples in the previous lesson. If you haven't watched that video yet, go ahead and take a look. With these meanings of go on in your mind, let's move on to the phrasal verb go off, and afterwards you will see how their meanings are related. Without further ado, let's get right to it. Let's start with one meaning that does seem to be somewhat related to go on. Go off can mean leave, often with a particular destination in mind, though not always.
除了单独使用外，比较常用的搭配包括 go off to a place for something, go off to do something.
Here are some examples. Mark went off without saying a word to anyone. Mark went off without saying a word to anyone. Pam went off to Washington for her conference. Pam went off to Washington for her conference. Sammy went off to join the circus. Sammy went off to join the circus.
那么 go off to a place 和上节课学习的 go on to a place 有什么区别呢？虽然这两个结构从形式上看应该互为反义，但其实两者的意思却很相似，表达的都是离开当前说话地点前往另一个地方。这里我主要讲一下它们的差别。当用 go on 时，我们更强调目的地是哪里，后面的地点作为基本信息是不能省略的。而 go off 更强调离开说话地点这个动作，后面可以加 to a place 来告知去向，但这些信息却不是必须的。咱们来看一下这个情景。Hey buddy, your mom will go out to the store after lunch. You better get your shopping list ready. Hey 儿子，妈妈午饭后要去商店，你最好把你的购物清单准备好哦。2小时后，儿子出来后却发现妈妈已经出门了，不由得说 Oh no, did mom go off without my shopping list? 哎呀，糟糕，妈妈已经出门了呀，我还没给她我的清单呢。Hey buddy, your mom will go out to the store after lunch. You better get your shopping list ready. Oh no, did mom go off without my shopping list? 这个例子中，爸爸用了 go on to the store。store 这个目的地作为主要信息是不能省略的。 而儿子只用了 go off 这个短语动词，强调妈妈离家的动作已经发生了，之后并没有明确的给出去向。注意，商店这个去向是大家从上下文中读出来的。
Another meaning of go off that may be seen as similar to a meaning of go on is a sense of happen or occur. However, with go off, this sense is much more used with the results of a complete event, where go on refers to something ongoing. This sense of go off also tends to be used when describing something going well, and is particularly common when talking about organized events.
从柯老师的解释，我们可以看出 go on 和 go off 都可以表示发生进行，但两者却是有区别的。首先，用 go on 时通常是指某事件正在进行中，而用 go off 时指的是某事件已经结束，强调结果。其次 go off 常和正面的描述搭配着使用，用来表示某个事件，通常是有组织的某个活动很圆满的结束了。而 go on 像我们上节课所讲的，通常带有消极的色彩，所描述的事件也可以是自发的。
Here are some examples. The party went off wonderfully. The party went off wonderfully. The ceremony went off without a hitch. The ceremony went off without a hitch. However, the most common meanings of go off have to do with an explosion, such as that of a bomb or a firework. For example, the bomb went off in the middle of the square. The bomb went off in the middle of the square. The fireworks went off prematurely. The fireworks went off prematurely. I don't want to be around when the device goes off. I don't want to be around when the device goes off. This extends in a few different ways. First, go off often is related to actions or events that are like explosions in that they occur suddenly. This is the case with firearms. For example, a pistol went off when they were struggling for it. The pistol went off when they were struggling for it. Keep the safety on so your rifle doesn't go off when you don't want it to. Keep the safety on so your rifle doesn't go off when you don't want it to. It's also really common with sirens, alarms, and other devices that make a sudden loud noise. For example, the alarm went off at 6 a.m. The alarm went off at 6 a.m. Sirens were going off everywhere. Sirens were going off everywhere. When the tornado siren goes off, you need to find a safe shelter. When the tornado siren goes off, You need to find a safe shelter. And of course, this gets extended to human emotions in just about the way you'd expect, indicating a sudden explosion of anger. For example, when I got a D in math class, Mom really went off. When I got a D in math class, Mom really went off. John went off on a rant about local government incompetence. John went off on a rant about local government incompetence. Be careful, because Adam tends to go off at any minor mistake. Be careful, because Adam tends to go off at any minor mistake. As you can see, the primary meanings of go on and go off aren't related at all. Go on is mostly about continuing actions, while go off is mostly about sudden explosive action. There are a few other meanings of go off you might want to be aware of as well. One is that it can refer to something shutting off or ceasing to function, usually without someone intending it to. For example, the power went off and we had to throw out all the food in the fridge. The power went off and we had to throw out all the food in the fridge. The computer just went off by itself. The computer just went off by itself. And it can refer to someone losing interest or enthusiasm for something. For example, she went off cooking after the noodle incident. She went off cooking after the noodle incident. Because of the daily work involved, Jeff eventually went off gardening for other hobbies. Because of the daily work involved, Jeff eventually went off gardening for other hobbies. Another meaning is to quit taking a medication or stop eating certain foods. For example, Jimmy, don't go off your meds. Jimmy, don't go off your meds. I'm going off sugar for a while. I'm going off sugar for a while. We're hoping that Sally will be able to go off the pain medication soon. We are hoping that Sally will be able to go off the pain medication soon. And finally, there is a sense where go off means to expire, spoil, become rotten, as in food or drink. This is actually more common in British or Australian English than American English, but it's possible to hear anywhere. For example, it smells like this milk has gone off. It smells like this milk has gone off. Those eggs went off really quickly. I just bought them a few days ago. Those eggs went off really quickly. I just bought them a few days ago. So there you go. These are the meanings you're most likely to encounter for go off. Take some time to familiarize yourself with the different meanings so you can pick out what is meant when you run into it.
好嘞，目前为止，我们应该已经把 go off 在日常对话中的所有语境都涵盖了。从我们的解释可以看出 ，go on 和 go off 并非反义词，在一些含义下，两者的语义甚至有相似、重复的部分。但总体来看，这两个短语动词的主要含义却没有任何关联。您都学会了吗？下节微课我们会继续学习超高频动词短语 pick up 的用法，咱们下节课见吧。
Thank you for watching, and see you next lesson. Bye. Support us on Patreon for access to exclusive learning materials. You can follow along with a PDF of our lesson PowerPoint, download high-quality audio files to listen to our lessons on the go, or get access to bilingual transcripts of each lesson. Just go to patreon.com/Corley English, select your monthly pledge amount, and instantly gain access. Your contribution will help us to keep creating more quality English learning content for you to enjoy. Thank you!